Each experience leaves imprints on our minds, and they're very hard to change by ourselves. In order for there to be a change, we need something around us to challenge those expectations and loosen up those connections. We need to be toothpicks more often. Let me explain. One time, a handle of my dresser drawer broke, so I had to buy a new one. In the replacement handle, the holes were around 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch longer than the old ones. It was just too wide for me to put a screw in diagonally. So I thought, I'll just make a new hole. I marked where the new hole was, but every single time I started drilling, the drill bit would go right back into the old hole. Ugh, I couldn't do it. So I searched YouTube, and a simple solution was you take a bunch of toothpicks, you dip them in glue, and you push them through the hole. Once the glue's dried, then you cut off the ends, and then you sand that. Once the hole's been filled, then you could drill a hole anywhere you wanted. It was brilliant. It's also a brilliant metaphor for our personalities. Each piece of furniture has specific holes in them that allow them to connect with other pieces in a certain way. These holes are kind of like their identities. With people, it's a similar process. Each experience leaves imprints on our minds by causing neurons to connect. If the experiences are repeated, or if they're significant, then the connections become quite strong and create a perception of how we fit in with the world. Our expectations and responses based on those connections become habits, and they're very hard to change by ourselves. In order for there to be a change, we need something around us to challenge those expectations of ours and loosen up those neuron connections. These connections are like the holes in furniture, and toothpicks are like new experiences. For example, I was visiting someone who lives in an apartment, and when I got into the elevator, there was a man standing there right by the buttons, bending down, chatting with his dog. I didn't want to interrupt him, so I reached around him to push the button of the floor that I wanted to get to. Then he looks up and he goes, What are you doing? You don't just do that. You're touching me. Now, a response like that doesn't seem very proportional to what I was doing. I don't know this person, so something in his past must have wired his brain to feel threatened by what I did. My initial reaction is, what's wrong with this guy? But if I had yelled back, or if I had just an aura of judgment, I would have drilled right into his perception that the people around him are hostile. Luckily, I recognized that this was probably his internal protector lashing out, and it had nothing to do with me. So I was able to let my anger and shock flow through my body quite quickly. When we arrived at his floor, when he got out, I said very sincerely, "I'm really sorry about that. Have a great day." He was shocked. He said, okay. Now, I don't know what he was thinking on the elevator ride up. Was he judging me or his own actions? And I don't know what he was expecting. But it wasn't that. I just gave him an experience that was different than his expectations. I was acting like a toothpick. Now, I hope many more people will surprise him and challenge his expectations, because he'll need many more toothpicks to fill that perception that people are hostile. Then he'd be able to create a new perception of others in a similar situation. A lot of people who wind up with chronic illnesses live in environments where the same scenarios play out over and over again. Like they're yelled at by their spouse every day, or they have to strain their backs in their job duties every day. They connect these situations with a sense of being trapped, along with a hopelessness and tension that comes with it. Their mental and physical condition becomes chronic because those neural connections become rigid. If we have access to lots of toothpicks, it will be much easier to break free of those rigid perceptions. Do you have opportunities to seek new environments to challenge your expectations? And are you able to learn to react differently to others and challenge their expectations?